Welcome to the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast, a podcast dedicated to sharing everything you need in bite-sized episodes to set up your wedding business for success and get your diary fully booked, full of those dream wedding clients. You're here with me, Jen Maynard, Wedding Business Growth Coach and founder of the Boho Bride Guide wedding blog and supplier directory. Each episode is full of value and structured around my wedding business anchor fundamentals framework to give you straightforward, step-by-step activities to put in place into your business that will position yourself as the go-to wedding supplier within your specialism. Let's go! Hello and welcome to this episode of the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast. It's amazing to have you here. Today, I want to talk more about how we as wedding business owners are able to build a brand through sharing our authentic purpose. And to do this, how vulnerability plays an intrinsic part in building that human connection with our audience. So our audience, whether that be online, whether that be whether you meet them at wedding fairs, wherever that may be, they're not just engaged people. They are emotional human beings like us that have experienced life, that are going through things when they're planning their wedding. They're dealing with challenges and overcoming those, whether that's in the past, the present, or things that are going to come up that they're sort of apprehensive about in the future. And so this is what we are drawn to and what we resonate with each other as human beings are these elements of our personality, our passions, and our life experiences. And often what makes the difference between your prospective clients selecting you over other suppliers within your wedding niche is that connection that they feel to you and your brand story. We all have many brand stories that make up our overarching wedding business ethos. And as humans, we love a story. We love storytelling and hearing other people share their experiences that they've had throughout their life. And this is because we're looking for that sense of belonging to reassure us that how we have experienced lives, others have too in that way. And we're looking for that sort of validation around, if we've been through something, through a hardship or a win, that we want to be able to resonate with others. It's part of being human. And I recently re-listened to the TED Talk from Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability. And she conducted 6 years worth of qualitative research all around human connection and the surrounding factors that when human connection takes place and when human connection doesn't take place. And we base... Hello and welcome to this episode. Hello and welcome to this episode of the podcast. It is great to have you with me. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Hello and welcome to this episode of the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast. It is amazing to have you with me today. Today, I wanted to talk to you more about how we as wedding business owners are able to build a brand through sharing our authentic purpose. And to do this, how vulnerability plays an intrinsic part in building that human connection with our audience. So our audience aren't just engaged couples. they have their own lives. They are emotional beings that have been through stuff, that have felt things, that have experienced heartache and upset and challenges along the way. And we are, as humans, we are drawn to others that we resonate with and feel like we connect with elements of their personality, their passions, and their life experiences. And often what makes the difference between your prospective clients choosing yourself over other people, other suppliers within your niche, is that sense of connection that they have with you, to you and your story. And so we need to be mindful around, are we sharing our story? Are we being clear about what we stand for and our why, and why we are here in the first place, doing what you do, doing what you love within the wedding industry? And so we have many wedding business brand stories that pull together and like create that fundamental underlying business ethos around what we stand for. And we as humans absolutely love a story and storytelling. And throughout history, that has been evidenced through religion, through folklore. We love to feel like we resonate and connect with other people's story, to give ourselves, reassurance, to challenge our thinking, and to validate our own experiences and what we've been through with other people's experiences. And I recently re-listened to a TED Talk from Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability. I'd listened to it ages ago, but I wanted to refresh my memory. And she conducted 6 years of qualitative research into human connection and all the sort of factors surrounding that, as to what enables human connection and what actually disconnects us from each other. And she basically talks about connection is our why, is our fundamental, underlying reason, and what gives us purpose and the meaning of our lives generally. It's a biological, sort of neurobiological, she says, element that we as humans instinctively possess, to feel a sense of belonging and connection with fellow humans. And it ultimately derives from that safety element of safety in numbers and keeping ourselves safe. But it's that element has stayed with us and has created communities around the world for as long as we've been around. Brene talks about, through her research and her findings, she's found that when connection is not achieved, the stories that come out is when people feel disconnected, when they feel that sense of unbelonging and they don't know where they fit in the world, because that is highly sort of traumatic and upsetting for us as humans, because that's what we fundamentally need and we're always searching for. We are community beings, not lone rangers, generally. And she found that what was distinguishing the two feelings of feeling connected or disconnected was around shame, and that disconnection was caused by shame. And the definition of shame is that basically a fear of disconnection, and we feel shame when we fear that we're going to be disconnected by groups within communities. Things like, we worry about that we're not going to connect with others, or they're not going to like our content online, or we don't do it because we feel fundamentally that we're not enough, we're not good enough at what we do, we haven't got a big enough following to go live, who's going to watch me? When people don't feel worthy, it all comes from that sense of trying to keep ourselves safe and preventing ourselves feeling shameful. But fundamentally, for human connection to take place, we have to put ourselves in that uncomfortable position and be vulnerable for that human connection to take place. And that's what I'm here today to sort of shine a bit of a light on, really, and how that relates to building our brand within the wedding industry. I made a note that Brene talked about a bit of a scale, and on one end it was, whether we feel a fear of disconnection, so that shame element, and therefore we don't put ourselves out there, we don't put pictures of ourselves online, we haven't got an about me page on our website. We want to keep our face out of our business due to many reasons, but ultimately it comes down to that fear of becoming shameful, being shamed. But then the other spectrum, so people that are willing to be vulnerable, they had an attribute that the other spectrum didn't, and that was a strong sense of worthiness, and that they believed that they were worthy of love, that they were worthy of belonging in the wider sense, that their voice is worth being listened to. And that is big, isn't it? To have that feeling that actually what I have to say is going to help others. My story is worthy, and people do want to hear it. And actually learning that unlearning that learned behavior around fear of showing our face due to shame, that needs to be unlearned to enable that next level of building our business brand. She also talks about courage and how that comes into it, and courage to be authentically you, and to have compassion for yourself, and actually courage to be willing to let go of what you should be and just be you ultimately. And that is all around embracing vulnerability. She shared a bit of a statement around what makes us vulnerable actually makes us beautiful. Because we are human, we are imperfect, we do have flaws, we do have quirks and differences, but people want to see that. People want to see what you are all about and that face behind the business, because that is what they're going to connect with, and ultimately not your products and services. The products and services come after, but if you need that connection, to kickstart that sort of know, like, and trust element. The other quote that I wrote down here, so Brene mentioned vulnerability is the birthplace of joy, creativity, love, and belonging, which I really loved there. And just so in a bid to share a bit around what I'm up to with regards to becoming more vulnerable and sharing my journey as a business owner, but ultimately as a mom boss juggling all the hats, I've recently utilized more so my Instagram stories to just share the ups and the downs and the good times and the bad, because they not only get to know me and what I'm about, but it enables that connection around, what I'm juggling as a business owner. Actually, I'm sure many people are also juggling similar or even different things. But yeah, we can just connect when we do have hardship. People connect with that and actually think, oh, I'm not on my own, and they're doing it too. But they keep going. They've got grit. They're pushing through, if you like. And so Brene, at the end of the TED Talk, she left us with a few words. So she said, let ourselves be seen, love with our whole hearts, although there's with no guarantee. So basically, be willing to put yourself out there and let what happens happen, and learn from that and move on. There's no guarantee that your live is going to go viral, but that's okay. It's that consistency and, being present and human on your outlets, on your social media outlets. Practice moments of gratitude, and, to remind ourselves what we're grateful for, and that that we fill our bottles up if that shame is sort of creeping in, and reminding ourselves that I am enough, and to be kind to ourselves. It is so important, because no one else can do that other than ourselves. And so the activity, there's 2 parts to the activity today. The first activity is to actually write some affirmations that resonate with yourself, that are actually going to build your confidence to become more vulnerable on your online outlets, if that's where you hang out most, and share your story, and remind ourselves that our voice is worth hearing. People want to hear about you, and ultimately that is how you're going to build that human connection with prospective wedding clients that are lurking in the background, looking at your content. I noted down some of my affirmations that I regularly chat to myself in the mirror, or just generally when I'm on a walk and that sort of thing. And I thought I'd share them with you. So, number 1, I am enough. Number 2, I am worthy of love and belonging. I have a voice that needs to be heard. I have so much to offer others. I am a force for good. My story will inspire others. I am courageous to be authentic and unapologetically me. I am learning to let go of fear. My courage to be vulnerable will build true connection with others. Now, those are my affirmations all around my vulnerability and, building that connection online, especially. And actually, that's what's really helped me create this podcast. I feel like I am on show. I am sharing my thoughts. I am opening up my world to others. And actually, it's been a gradual process to get me to this point. And part of that is to regularly practice affirmations to remind myself that, yes, I have a voice, I am worthy, and what I have to offer, other people can benefit from. And that, for me, really gets me through when that imposter syndrome likes to try and raise its ugly head. And so, the activity around that is to pick up a pen and paper, or a Google Doc if you would prefer, and give yourself 15 minutes to note down some statements, like I mentioned, that would actually really resonate with you and enable you to do something that slightly scares you every day with regards to vulnerability. And gradually, step by step, you will move forward and become more visible and enable yourself to be vulnerable and build that sort of real human connection with your audience. Okay. Part 2 of the activity, I wanted to ask the question, what brand story is fundamental to your why, but you have not shared it with your audience yet? I'll read it again. What brand story is fundamental to your why, but you have not shared it yet with your audience? So, some examples that might be coming to mind if you're struggling with this one. So, you haven't yet shared your why. What motivates you to keep building your wedding business? And there could be numerous brand stories around your why. So you might want to, bullet point that out, because there's always going to be many reasons why, firstly, you started your wedding business, but actually what gets you up every morning and motivates you to keep pushing forward to build your business. Another one, what are your emotional needs that you achieve through your wedding business? And for me, I mentioned it before, but it's around, my wedding business enables me to be a present mom, to be there when, the school fetes and the sports days, but not just that, to when I'm with my children, I'm with my children. And, they are my focus and attention at that time. And by being my own boss, that's what it enables. But what does your wedding business enable from your point of view, from an emotional needs point of view? Another one for me, it's being part of a community. That is really important and high on my list there. The next one down, what personal fulfillment does your wedding business enable? What material desires does your wedding business enable for you? For me, it's travel and experiencing different cultures and parts of the world with my family, and enabling my boys to experience that as well. Financial aspirations, for me, it's financial stability. But what does that mean to you? What story have you got around that your audience might want to hear? Because everyone has a story around what finances mean to them and what that enables. And if you feel courageous enough, share that, because someone will resonate with your story. What is your wider purpose, and what does your wedding business enable you to achieve? So other than your sort of initial family, friends, lifestyle, etc., as you grow your business, what influence, how does your influence grow? What charitable causes are you able to help more? What community of people can you give back to? And sharing that, what's your aspirations, or where are you at present with that? And also, as well as the good things and the aspirations, if you feel courageous enough, what are the challenges? What are the pain points for you around pushing forward with your wedding business? And so the question would be, what has been the hardest thing to date in building your wedding business? If you feel that you are able to share that, then do. People want to hear that, it's not all the Instagram, skewed, rose-tinted glasses, skewed view that we can get on many occasions. Actually, it's damn hard building a wedding business. It takes grit, it takes determination, and pulling yourself up when you don't think you've got any more in the tank. But what has been the hardest thing that you've dealt with, and share what the hardest thing is, and share how you have overcome or are overcoming that. People will connect with that and sort of respect you for keeping going. So I hope that has been a bit of an insight. I would love to hear where you are at currently with feeling courageous enough to be vulnerable. I love to hang out on Instagram at weddingbusinessgrowthcoach.com. No, at weddingbusinessgrowthcoach. I always do that. Apologies. Please do DM me. I'd love to hear what you thought about this episode and where you are at currently with your vulnerability, and what you are going to do to feel more confident at being more vulnerable with your online audience. Lovely to have you with me. Take it steady, and I'll see you at the next episode. Take care.
Download your free Who Do You Serve activity pack that takes you through the step-by-step activities to focus in on your niche and position yourself as the go-to wedding supplier within your specialism. Download it today following the link in the podcast show notes, or visit my website weddingbusinessgrowthcoach.com/biz-resources. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and took away some wedding business building value. Make sure you subscribe to the Wedding Business Growth Coach podcast to ensure you get notified every time a new episode goes live. See you next time.